What's going on, everyone? Slovosh here. Wanted to bring everyone a guide to how to be better at Cosmic Midtown. I could potentially cover some other patrol zones, but right now I'd like to focus on where I spend the most time in this game while I'm playing. Main reason being is because Midtown is such a great place to farm some of the higher valued artifacts in the game, as well as it's the only patrol zone that gets its own like event every Monday, and today's Monday, so I wanted to capture this while you have the crazy ass event of Midtown Monday or Midtown Madness, whatever you want to call it. I want to focus on specifically what you want to pick up and what you don't want to pick up, and everyone could say something different about this, and to each his own. Whatever you think you need for your account, that's what you need. But I want to go over quickly, and I'm going to try to not make this video very long, to be really honest. I just want to go over some pointers and tips as to how you can quickly kill a boss and move on to the next bosses, because everyone's in Midtown to increase their value of their account or find good artifacts, whatever. And basically everything that I'm going to reference in my video now is based on current market trade values, and I'm not a super big trading type person, but that doesn't mean that I'm not aware of what things are valued at. And anything that's worth less than one blessing currently, I don't keep. So I will try to send a link or put a link down in the comment sections below for this video of the best up-to-date guide that I've found anywhere online for current market trade values, and you can kind of determine if the things you have in your stash or the things that are cluttering up your book bag are even worth keeping. And some of this may just be because I'm a veteran and I've played this game since the beta, or because I have room for extra stuff or whatever. But I just want to explain to you guys why I keep some stuff and why I don't keep some stuff, and how that I'm able to basically not miss many of the bosses, and kind of like the hierarchy of where you want to be in certain situations. And I could make this a real in-depth video, but I just want to do a brief overview. Just pick a character you like, someone that has made it to the Cosmic Zones. For me, my main is Mr. Fantastic. For any of the new people out there, yes, he's probably considered the least popular character in Marvel Heroes, which is exactly why I love to fucking play him, because you will not find very many players online. And I actually read a Reddit post earlier that said seeing a Mr. Fantastic in a Cosmic Zone is like seeing a solar eclipse. So that just made me happy to see that. I enjoy playing him, so I'm going to keep doing that. But getting to the point, guys, we're going to go to Midtown, Cosmic Midtown. It is Monday, so this is going to be Midtown Madness Monday. I want to show you guys kind of how you want to attack this area. Make sure you get all your buffs up first. Usually, first zones you want to try to focus on heavily. And let me tweak the audio right now. This is going to be a little obnoxious otherwise. Bring that down, that down, that down, that down. There we go. Okay. So, as you can see, when a boss pops, you're going to have a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff on the ground, a lot of stuff that other people are littering back into the pile. And currently, right now, the event is Civil War, so you're getting a lot of these Prod registration tokens and a lot of the Seals of Conflicts. So just to briefly go over what dropped from that one boss, and given most boss packs in Midtown are 3 to 6 bosses at a time, you're definitely going to have to know how to filter through what you just picked up quickly so that you don't miss the other bosses that are in between the boss waves. So I have 2 minutes and 12 seconds. This is your timer between the next boss wave. So right now everyone's probably focusing on killing Man-Ape, because the order in my mind at least is you want to go Man-Ape, probably I would say Crossbones, because it's the Civil War event right now, or any other kind of event-based boss at the time. I gotta kill these guys real quick. Oh, there's another Seal of Conflict. Okay, so it goes Man-Ape, event boss, and then probably like Black Cat or Mole Man. Those are the only other ones in here, but usually by the time you kill Man-Ape and the event guy, if there is one at the time, then the next wave will probably be spawned. So let me go over quickly what I just picked up. We got Cosmic Reliquaries. Wow. Cosmic Reliquaries. I literally, I think, just bit my tongue there. So you're going to pop these immediately. You're going to figure out what's in them. Usually when I'm looking at a core, the stats that I'm looking for is always invulnerability and then one of the other two modifiers of being a trifecta. If it's not at least invulnerable and one of the other two mods of a trifecta, it's not worth keeping in my eyes. So right now this is invulnerable. Yes, that's good, but it does not have 400 life on hit, and it does not have spirit and life on medkit. And the hierarchy of that would probably be invulnerability with spirit and life on medkit would be a bifecta. That's usually worth at least a blessing by itself. And then if you get one with invulnerability, spirit and life on hit, and 400 life on hit, that's what's called a trifecta, and those are actually worth 4 or 5 goks at the current time. So these prices that I'm spitting out right now, these are all part of that guide that I'll tell you. I'm going to move out of this zone just in case the bosses drop in here. I don't want to really be interrupted. So I'm going to go hide up by this car. Actually, let me get up this way a little bit. Usually this little nook's a pretty good spot to hide. Okay, so from that last boss wave, we got an unstable molecule. I always keep my unstable molecules just because crafting materials, now that they did it, like the update to the game, all crafting materials stack up to 1,000. So what I will do as I'm continuously playing in this zone is I will keep at least 1 stack of each element in my book bag, and I'll show you how I lay it out as I get into more bosses. But all the, what are these, relics? All these relics I will keep in a stack over here of at least a couple hundred on my Team Ups book bag. I keep all my relics on my Team Ups book bag because then I can just move them over and add them to the stack. Once you hit 1,000, you have to start a new stack. So that's usually where you port them over to one of your other characters just as a holding place, whatever, because the unbind recipes are very cheap now. So if I have more than 2 stacks of whatever, I can move one of them over to 1,000 stack over a character temporarily, and it only costs like $9,000 to unbind it back off in one element. So keep all my relics on my team up. That's completely up to your personal preference, but that's what works for me. I immediately move them over here. It opens up one more bay on my book bag. For Midtown Monday, when you're getting a ton of these chests, I will usually pop them immediately. I have all of my filters up to cosmic on all these. That means only uniques are going to drop for me for in-game purposes. If you already have all your uniques and they're already all level 60, you can keep them here at this. This is under gameplay tab. You slide these all the way to the right, and basically anything that's not unique will instantaneously vanish off your screen. It's fantastic. Now what's cool is when you have a pet that needs leveled up, see these cybernetic bonuses here? If you have this if you have this pet equipped, whenever those items drop, and Midtown's still one of the areas that will drop all the greens and blues and yellows, even though you don't see them because of your vacuum or whatever, this will go towards building up those bonuses for your pet. So Midtown's really good for this too. I will usually keep a pet that I'm working on either in my book bag or just off of my book bag, because I like to feed the non-character uniques to this guy to try to reroll that cybernetic bonus. You can never really go wrong with a pet that has a +3 fighting or intelligence modifier on the last spot there. So you see the one I've currently equipped is 3 to fighting and the last unique bar. That's actually really hard to roll unless you're super lucky. So I like to keep one in my book bag to kind of eat all the non-character specific uniques, and then I can go back to the crafter and reset it if it's not what I want. So here's a stack of 10 relics. I'll add them to the stack over here. As I said before, this core is not worth keeping, and unless you need the gold immediately for crafting or something, you don't need to go back to town to sell it. Just drop it on the ground. I only keep 200 medkits at any given time. That's because it only takes up one spot here. And again, if you have under gameplay, just above the, or below the floating things, where the hell is it actually? Here it is, just under auto loot. If you have enable auto loot of credits and medkits, you'll pick up all coins and pick up all medkits that drop on your screen all the time. So you should always have 200 medkits on you, unless you're popping them like crazy. In that case, you can go back over here in town, and these guys are always able to sell you crates of 200. You buy one of these for real cheap, and then you can pop them, and it's another 200. So I just threw 200 to the ground there, but it doesn't matter. So I always see a lot of people using more than one spot for medkits. When the hell are these people using that many medkits? Because you're always picking them up. So I don't know, especially from Midtown Madness. Every single Midtown box has one medkit in it, so you will not need to carry more than 200. If you have over a stack of 200, I recommend throwing it. Okay, so priority right now, since we're in between boss waves, would be go to Manape, try to snipe some hits on him or be close while he's taking some damage. Try to dodge his attacks if you can. And then we'll see what we need to pick up from him. Always pick up these boss bonus things here on the ground. Okay, so we got Seals of Conflict. These are event-specific items. Right now, Seals of Conflict, every 200 Seals of Conflict can buy you a Crimson box, which basically is a guaranteed like artifact from the list that it shows, which are usually, you know, it's really just a gamble if you're going to get something decent or not. Most of the things on that list are at least worth one blessing, so it's very worthwhile keeping at least one spot for your stack of those. That way you're not always moving them. The goal is to try to minimize the amount of trips you go to town by managing your stash as best as you can. I do not keep any of these cosmic medallions unless it's one that I need for one of my characters or one that I don't have already. But most of the time, I'm chucking those unless you need them for one of your other characters. So I will always throw those away. Again, I'm moving my relics over to my team-ups book bag. I got 3 extra med kits, immediately throwing those. Looking at the core, it is invulnerable. It's got fighting and energy. Still not worth a blessing because it doesn't have the other 2 things on it that would make it either a bifecta or a trifecta, so I'm chucking it. Those aren't even worth trading, people. If you don't have a core on one of your characters, by all means keep it to start doing that. At least get them up to a level 60 core. That would be a good start. I really would like a 6 boss wave so I can show you how quickly you can move by kind of inheriting some of these principles of what to keep and what not to keep. Awesome. They heard my cry. Okay, so Doc Octopus wave. This wave is probably the best wave to get in on, if not the X-Men wave in Midtown. These are going to be the boss waves that drop the absolute most loot for you. So you definitely want to be in this area while these are going on. And just try to really pump out your damage. Now, if you guys don't know already, there is another toggle you can put on under gameplay modes that will allow you to see these little exclamation points or the highlighters for the bosses. Because right now, if you look at my screen, it is just a shit mess of different skills being casted and whatnot. There's an indicator for bosses that can be toggled on under gameplay options. I'll show you that after this. But right now, there's no way in hell I'd know who I'm shooting, so I'm just doing a bunch of AoE moves, trying to stay out of the fray the best I can. Once my signature's up, I'm dropping it pretty much non-stop. Okay, again, just staying out of the mix a little bit, trying to stay alive, because if you die when you're near bosses, and they're really low health, if you stay dead, you will get their drops. But if you teleport back to town just before they die and then they die while you're in town, you're not within like the halo of the area of them dropping shit, so then you'll lose those drops. So try to stay alive by staying, you know, out of the fight. I mean, if you're a melee person, that's kind of hard to do, but just try to see as best you can the boss indicators on where they're going. Like people like Juggernaut or Rhino are really hard for melee people because they do their one-shot charges that will basically fuck you up in one hit, and you don't have a choice, and you don't really always know where they're going to go because there's so many ground effects on the ground. Usually while a boss is kind of getting whittled down and there's not a lot of heat, I'll go around and collect all my experience orbs before they kind of minimize a little too much. I still like to keep a few dots on the boss, you know, to help out the team of people that are helping kill him, but definitely make sure you're getting your orbs when they're at maximum juiciness. Okay, so as you can see on my screen right now, there's a man-ape, there is a crossbones, and you have this whole shit mess of stuff on the screen that you need to pick up. So what I'm prioritizing is uniques, midtown boxes, seals of conflict, reliquaries, and then midtown madness cards. So obviously eternity splinters are always something you should pick up, and I think everyone knows why. Unless you need Stark Tech power cubes, I wouldn't bother wasting my time. A lot of the time you will end up picking someone else's up that they already looked at and threw back down on the ground. It's usually best if you are looking for Stark Tech cubes to pick those up very first before anyone else has a chance to litter your screen with their old ones. Okay, so here we are. We got almost all of our pillars of light. Another trick, if you guys can, if you really want to snipe a certain item, zoom in. Zoom in. Use your scroll on your mouse to zoom in, pick up the one item you want. I'll check out that purple insignia. It's probably someone else's shit drop. If one's that far away from the bosses, I usually don't pick it up. But right now, I'm able to move to Man-Ape. I'm not really in a situation yet where I need to be worrying about clearing out my book bag, because there's a chance that Man-Ape's probably almost dead, or, I mean, it looks like they kind of took out Crossbones before I got here. So I missed out on that wave, but the reason you want to try to, you know, clear out your stash as quickly as you can is because you will miss out on less of these boss fights, and then you can increase the likelihood of you getting a good artifact in the downtime, or the time you spend in here, I suppose. So right now there's really no real reason to be going through my book bag, because I don't need, or I'm not full on stash space yet. So I'll usually wait at least till that happens before I will start looking at it really hard. So I'm sure after a 6 boss drop like that Dr. Octopus wave, it will be very soon that I have to. Okay, so he is going down. Should be going down real soon. Okay, there he goes. Again, Midtown Madness crates. If you're on Mondays, that'll drop. Always pick up relics. Always pick up relics. Pick up any blue, or I mean purple insignias that you can. If you're at max faction, you don't need to worry about picking up those pro or anti-regulatory things. Yeah, they're kind of just clutter on the screen at this point. So, Sinister Wave just dropped. I'm going to Sinister over Black Cat, and the main reason for that is Black Cat's artifact, I mean, which she probably has a higher probability of dropping, is only worth maybe a blessing, if that. The grappling hook is not very high valued right now, so she's usually not a high target person to kill. But they did exchange the loot tables with like almost every boss in every zone to have like a shared chance of dropping, so the more bosses you can kill, the better. And in this case, there's 4 of them up here and only 1 of her down there. I'd like to be up here in case all these other people that are in Hightown or Midtown kind of like kill the shit out of her quickly, or they call it zerging. But you want to be in these areas whenever you have a chance to be. Again, make sure you're staying alive. It's the #1 priority. Always. Okay, so 1 guy's down. There's 2. Mr. Sinister's diamond is still very sought after, even though you can't trade it or anything. It's a great item to have. Okay, so again, Midtown chest. After you get your orbs, orbs are always first priority because they're the only things that really will go away on your screen. Always pick up my seals. Don't be afraid to zoom in to really snipe out the things you want and none of the clutter that you don't. That's how I do it. So I'm just clicking On anything with a pillar pretty much right now, that usually speeds shit up. Okay, I think I just misclicked on something, but these Seals of Conflict are good right now for getting those Crimson chests. I'll definitely do those. I don't have any spots for crafting materials right now. Okay, so I just hit max book bag space, so now it's time to organize. What I usually do right off the bat is I'll pop all of the Midtown, and this is another trick. If you're trying to level up a pet, you can throw this on right now, and then just pop all these. Because every time you vacuum up all this shit that's not a unique, it'll go towards that pet. It's a little trick you can do. So everything besides unique, and for some reason rings don't fall under the vacuum, they immediately get chucked. So the only uniques that I keep, and I'll go ahead and open up all these reliquaries real quick. Let's see here. So cosmic or unstable molecules, those stack, so just drop them on top of each other. Let's see, that one should have been over there already. Cosmic ring, if it doesn't have crit, hit, crit damage, and brutal hit or brutal damage and some life or something on it, it's not worth keeping, so you chuck it. I do not keep any team up gear unless I have a new team up that needs it, but if that's the case, I'll just come to Cosmic Midtown and farm it in about 5 seconds. Okay, so this doesn't have invulnerable, it's gone. Doesn't have invulnerable, it's gone. Doesn't have invulnerable, it's gone. Doesn't have invulnerable, I'm not even looking. Not even looking. Not even looking. Okay, opening these up. Now for insignias, the way you can tell if an insignia is good is it needs to have either... First off, it needs to match whatever the yellow or elemental aurora is, or the aurora up top is always the yellow text. That's based off of whatever the insignia's name is. So insignia of crystal is the elemental aurora. So all those auroras will differ depending on what the name of the insignia is. So you can only find insignias that your character can equip. So Mr. Fantastic can equip Shield, Fantastic Four, Avengers, and Defenders. So usually you have a higher % chance of finding Fantastic Four, Shield, Avengers, or Defenders insignia. So when I'm looking at these, first thing you can do, and for those of you that don't know, you can press Alt. Alt will tell you what the ranges are for each one of those statistics down on the bottom. The yellow text up top does not change. So when you're looking at an insignia, you're looking at the bottom 2 green numbers, and you're looking for things that have stats like critical damage rating, brutal damage rating, critical strike rating, brutal strike rating, over 1800 life, things like that. Let me get out of this zone, it's getting a little hot. So I'll just go over this one time and then I can move along. But so this does not have any kind of stats that are really going to make it valuable, so I'm going to chuck it. Okay. I don't need a Silver Surfer Stark Tech Cube. See, that's what I'm saying. Everyone just litters their shit back down. So unless it's a high roll and it's, you know, got 1 and another fairly close stat of those 4 that I just listed, there's a really good likelihood I'm not keeping it. So that does not have a lot of health. The damage versus boss rating can go up to 375, so it's pretty high on that, but it's not really good enough for me to keep, at least, because stash space is precious, and they're going to continue to make things drop in this game so that you get even tighter and tighter stash space. So again, epic team up gear or cosmic team up gear, I always chuck it. All of my relics go over here. Stack your elements, make at least 1 stack. I always keep all of my character specific uniques along the right side in a stack like this. Chuck any extra over 200 of the med kits you got. Look at your insignias. So that's a pretty shitty Quicksilver. Don't keep any medallions, really. I don't. Now these any hero uniques, if you have a team up pet that needs leveled, feed them to him. Then you don't need to go to town to sell them, and they're not going to waste. So he's got 3 out of 8. I take him back off and swap it with that one. So now I got my real team up pet again, and you can see I leveled up some of those blues and purples. I guess they don't drop greens here in Cosmic Midtown, so that's something you have to keep in mind. But you can get those in terminals, I believe. But just by swapping that before I open those boxes, that helps out a lot. So not keeping it, and doesn't have any of the good stats on it, so I'm not keeping it. So I like to keep these along the top like that. I'm missing the other two, but I'll have those stacked soon. I do want to go back over here. I saw a Eternity Splinter. That's one of the only things you definitely want to be going back for every single time. Where did it go? I don't know where it went. These orbs. Okay. It's not on my screen, so I don't know what happened to it. It must be around here somewhere. I saw it a second ago, unless it was a glitch. But we're going to the event boss right now because he takes priority over Black Cat. I just made it in time. As you can see, you don't even really need to put a hit on a guy. I'm keeping his crafting items, and I'm not picking up any of the gear. Like anything I'm telling you to chuck, don't even bother clicking it in the first place. That'll save you from having to throw it away. Okay, so after your event boss, if Manape is still around, you want to rush to him. We're going to start picking this up in speed a little bit, and then I'm going to hopefully wrap up the video once you get the basics here. Now the reason Manape is always such a high priority target is because he can drop the Sacred White Gorilla Necklace, and that's still one of the items that's valued in this game at about 4 or 5 Goks. And Goks are Gem of the Curses. That's like a very common trade value item. People call GV Gok value. It's basically how many Goks or Gem of the Curses you would have to trade in order to get another item. So 4 Gem of the Curses equals 1 Sacred White Gorilla Necklace. So if you find a Sacred White Gorilla Necklace, you can trade it in chat for 4 Gem of the Curses. Again, I'm picking up Midtown stash cubes, or what the fuck did I just say? Midtown boxes. I'm always picking up relics, immediately chucking any kind of med kits you pick up. So again, relics, go over here to this guy, popping these immediately. Doesn't have invulnerable, I'm throwing it. There's my next stack of elements. Let's see if this is worth a shit. It's got pretty low crit hit rating on it. I'd like it to be closer to 300 if I was going to keep it. So that's gone. I can swap these pets real quick, open up these 2 boxes. Okay, got a unique. It's one of my own character uniques. Make sure you're throwing your kits back out. Swap back. And we're going. We're moving along. So again, you're taking any crafting materials you can find. You're taking any kind of uniques you find, any kind of Midtown boxes you can find. I like to pick up all the reliquaries, even though most of the time you're throwing most of this shit out. At least you can get a ton of cosmic team up stuff if you need them. If you don't need them, you can throw them back out. Seal the Conflict, you're definitely picking up right now. That's like one of the best things in the game for leveling, or for getting your gear. Chest 10 Odin marks, pop that shit immediately. If you feel like switching your pet, you can, but I know there's boss wave up, so I'm going to move. Okay, so this is another 3 boss drop here. Seal of Conflict just dropped. Gotta pick that one up. Hello. Make sure you're not dying. Alrighty. So, we are fighting the 3 bosses, then we will go to Manape once he's up, then Crossbones preferably, and then usually you can sort your stash, or if you really want to fight 2 more bosses, you can fight Mole Man and Black Cat. They do drop more seals, which is always a good thing. But you can also use that precious time in between boss waves after you've killed the 2 major guys to focus on clearing out your book bag if you need it, going to town if you need to sell stuff. Usually I don't go to town to sell anything. It's probably easier to just dump stuff on the ground like everyone else does, because you'll be less efficient, I feel, if you travel back and forth to town a ton just to sell your shit, because you'll get gold with the auto looting system of gold pretty much without even thinking about it. Keep your get your experience orbs. Hood's gonna be down soon. Alright, we got one more. Wow, fucking up this rotation bad. Wow, he's got a lot of health. Come on, you bitch. Wow. He just keeps teleporting. Okay, get your orbs. Then you can zoom in if you choose, or if you can snipe them, go for it. Again, you're usually picking up yellow things, and you're picking up the purples. See right here. You pick up cores, and just check them like normal. I'm not picking up team up gear. There we go. Getting that. Seal of conflict for sure. I'll check this core, because I know it's from me. And usually you can get over to the other bosses, because right now you don't need to manage your stash. Again, I'd say priority is Man-Ape. But usually, if you get to Man-Ape and there's not a lot of people here, you can backtrack since these guys are pretty damn close. I'm guessing everyone is on Crossbones, which it looks like they are. So we're going to go to Crossbones real fast. You don't want to be fighting the crowd, is I guess what I'm getting at. So right there, I saw no one was on Man-Ape. I could sit there and solo him forever and probably not do a ton of damage to him, or I can go help kill the guy that's already getting, you know, his ass whooped, and then wait for the crowd to finish with him and then move to Man-Ape. So now everyone's probably migrating right over here to Man-Ape to fuck him up. You gotta work as a team since these guys have so much damn health. I could have sat here and tried to solo him and got him down, you know, quite a bit, but then I'd miss out on, you know, all of the Crossbones drops. So that's just another thing you can do to maximize stuff. If you see two bosses close to each other, try to help out the team of people that are already fighting someone else, and then wait for the whole pack of people to move along to the next boss. Unless you got a nice little group going with you around the places, then it's probably the most efficient way, solo at least. Okay, so picking up the Midtown boxes, reliquaries, seals of conflict, always picking up relics, not picking up team up gear. So right now it's a slow period. I'm going to swap my team ups. I'm going to pop all this shit. Midtown boxes first. I'm not even looking at the ground yet. Throwing that. Okay, so I got one unique out of it. It's Aunt May's cane. Immediately feeding it to this guy. Let's pop all these. Stacking our elements. Stacking those. Stacking these. She-Hulk's brutal damage. Shit. Not keeping medallions unless it's something I need. I don't need a Clert or a Malekith medallion. Spider-Woman, definitely not even a good Aurora, so I'm not keeping that one. Don't need team up gear right now, so I'm chucking it. None of those had invulnerability, so I'm chucking them. Moving the relic over to the team ups book bag and then swapping back. So now I'm moving along. Let's pick up this Seal of Conflict. It's been on an indicator, and I didn't even miss out on a boss wave. Let's get another set of drops here. Alright. Book bag's pretty much cleared out. We can move along. Alright. Conflict unique. Don't need the rest of that. Moving along. So this is a 4 boss wave. We're going to get our ass up here. And after this wave, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I think maybe you guys are getting the concept of what I'm keeping, what I'm not keeping. And then I will tell you why I'm keeping the things I am and why I'm not keeping the other things. So this will be the last wave here. And then we'll go to town for the first time in a long time. I can show you why I'm keeping only the character-specific gear. Pop the ultimate. Got time to fuck around. Make sure you're getting your orbs. Always target the weakest person in the pack. Always. That way you're minimizing the amount of DPS the bosses are outputting, and you can focus everyone else's attacks on one person. You always look for the weakest link. She's got an assload of health. There we go. Midtown, reliquaries, seal, get your orbs before they go away. Seal, unique. Alright, there we go. There's that reliquary, unique. Not picking up the cube. You'll get an eye for this after a little while. Okay, so there's one more reliquary. I don't need any of the rest of that shit. Okay, so let's go to town real fast. And you can still pop your stuff in town. Okay, so if I go here, let's swap these guys. Pop all them bad boys. Alright. Switch back. Yeah, switch back. Drop the med kits. If you want to sell them at this point, you can because you're in town. Stack your relics. Get rid of team up gear. Keep character specific uniques. Here's that last stack of shit that I'm missing, so I keep that the way it is right there. Alright, so stack them. Drop the danger room. Thor insignia is decent, but not that great. Invisible woman, still not that great. Character specific uniques go over here. And that's still not a good core, so I'm chucking it. Okay. So that's how I clean up the book bag. These are the things I'm keeping, and the reason I'm keeping these character specific uniques is because these will be a lot easier to find multiple pairs of, and then you can bring them to the crafter and do an exchange for relics. Relics are probably the best thing, I think. Unless you need cash, you can trade 5 for a 500k chest, but when you find 4 of them and you need relics and you don't need cash, this is the best way to spend these uniques. You just pop them in here, craft them, and you get 50 Gibrams, like nothing. So you keep doing that over time, and you will eventually get stacks of 1,000 of everything you need. Right, so, and this is how you can clear out a lot of stash space as well, is just by clearing out what you've kept in the past with the uniques that you keep. So if it's usually 2 or less, I don't end up recommending selling them. So right now I don't have a 4th one of these, so I'll put them back. So I have 4 helmets of the maker. I'll do those real quick. Throw them down. There you go. Okay, so that's that, guys. And then I continue on with what I'm doing by trying to move my relics over here. Just like so. So typically when I will come to town is when I have too many character specific uniques to continuously pick up stuff, and then anything that I really keep, like a good insignia, a good core, I'll line them up along this side over here. I always stay at 200 medkits, always keep stacks of each type of relic or crafting element up top here. Keeping a pet for leveling purposes is completely up to you, but it does take up one more of your spots. Any kind of event gear like these craftables, you keep them probably because you'll probably want to craft one of those at some point or another. I have those in my inventory, so I'll throw them in here and stack them. But that's how I do that, guys. I hope that helped a little bit. Hopefully that helps try to figure out what you want to manage. I will make sure I leave a link to that current market trade value chart in the description of the video. That way you can tell if something you're constantly keeping is even worth keeping. If it's not worth a blessing, it's probably not worth your time to sit there and try to sell it because there isn't going to be a big market for it. And once you get enough, bosses under your belt, you'll eventually start to get some artifacts that'll be worth a blessing or 2 blessings or goks or multiple goks or whatever, and then you can use those to trade for the items you need. And that's kind of how you'll gear up your characters to make them way better. That's why Midtown is the most boss dense area in the game, I think, at the moment, because right now there's another Sinister 6 wave. That's 6 more bosses plus 3 out at any time. I mean, it's just the best place to find some gawk value for your account. So that's why I want to tell you guys how to get to the bosses in between faster and how to spend less time in town by really trying to think about what you're picking up. If you guys liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And I will catch you guys next time. Peace.